have it, folks. That's Big Cypress Bound. Thank you for listening to my third album. And, I think the title, in this epilogue of the album, to be honest, I didn't really, sometimes when you name something, you have a list and you go through it and you're like, well, okay, do I name it, this or that? And you kind of go back and forth, and then somebody else comes in and they crumple up the paper and they say, no, all those names are bad. Go back to the drawing board. That might be a manager. Bobby Angel's looking for a manager. Maybe I don't need a manager. I think I'm kind of a self-starter. And I didn't have a list, It just kind of, I didn't even really know I was working on an album. I was just kind of plugging away with some songs, and then I'm like, Big Cypress Bound. That's what this is about, And that's the name of the album. And I just went with it. And I think the thing that really tied it together was the final song. It's with Time to Retire, a long-time ecologist. There's a lot of armchair ecologists out there. They kind of just read about it. Well, Tony was the type of guy. He not only, knew where all the ruins are in the Everglades and the Big Cypress, and he knew how to get there, into all the fish. You need a fish, Tony can get you that fish. He knows exactly where that fish is. I think he knew where the giant squids were. Nobody's ever seen a live giant squid, but Tony could take you there exactly and find you one, and that's guaranteed. And he retired, and it's like when he retired, it's like, wow, that's an end of an era, and we all kind of sat around and we're like, Tony, a farewell address. Here's an hour, we want your words your nuggets of wisdom. And his farewell address was 2.5 sentences, and I wrote them down. I'm still studying them. I mean, it was 2.5 sentences, but it was jam-packed. And even between the lines, you could read things. But him retiring, it made me, that was the final song. That's the final song. And it's Big Cypress Bound. Yeah, Tony was always Big Cypress Bound. He still is Big Cypress Bound. And I think we're all bound in some way to some place. And that's the thing about this album, and it kind of fits the campfire vibe is really the thing, is when you think about it, and I was thinking about it recently, is that, my albums are like just extended campfires. I'll do a campfire set, it might be a half hour, but these albums are like those 4-hour conflagration. And it's not the size of the campfire that matters, but kind of the things you discuss or sing about. And, it's just something special about the campfire and a guitar and singing some songs and then talking about them. You got to talk about them, and that's what Big Cypress Bound is all about. And, and the guitar, an electric guitar doesn't work well. I've done that before, and I learned from it. It didn't work. I had a big generator, and the generator kind of droned out the crackle. People commented afterwards. They weren't really part of the campfire, but they were camping down the road, and they could hear the generator and the guitar, and they said, that probably isn't working well. And I took their advice. It was good advice. You have to be open to, sometimes you'll think about something in your head, but then if you hear what other people are thinking about it, they're kind of on the outside looking in. So it's the acoustic guitar. Another guitar that doesn't work well at the campfire is the air guitar. The air guitar, the crackle drowns out the sound of the air guitar. And the problem with the air guitar is you have to generate the air guitar sound with your mouth, and that means you can't talk about the song or really sing. So the great thing about the acoustic guitar, it just fits. You can strum the chords, and that frees you up to either sing a song or talk. But if you're doing the air guitar, you don't really have a chance. You can't do the air guitar properly and then also sing a song or talk about a song. And it's just the wrong vibe with air guitar. And usually when you think air guitar, you think rock and roll. I'm more of a nature folk balladeer. I sing the nature folk ballads, and that's what Big Cypress is about, the songs that celebrate nature and the people that protect nature. The one advantage of an air guitar is it's easy to pack. It's really not much you have to bring along with it. but ultimately it's not enough, and it's kind of distracting. I mean, maybe I'll try it again. I can do another campfire with an air guitar, and we'll see what happens. But my experience is that it doesn't work well. You want the acoustic guitar, and tune the strings a little better probably than I'm doing. And I know just enough guitar, just enough acoustic guitar. I think if I knew even a tenth less, it wouldn't be possible for me to play the guitar. So I know, just enough, and that's all you need. And the campfire, and that's what Big Cypress Bound is all about. And the title just kind of, Big Cypress Bound. I think it was just called Big Cypress. It would be, it's about the Big Cypress, but Big Cypress Bound. You're going there. Going there from where? And you're going there. Where are you now? How deep are you in there? And you're going there. Why are you going there? Big Cypress Bound. You get done an hour. It's not like I go to a campfire and I write out my songs at one campfire and I'm like, all right, that's how, sometimes, I've seen it with other bands. They go to a studio and they kind of have some ideas and they write down all their songs. And I kind of just work on them over time. And then I kind of get to a point and it's like, I think this is an album. And you want to wrap it up in an album so you can move on to other things. You want to be Big Cypress Bound, but you don't want to be Big Cypress Bound for a couple years. You want to kind of be able to say, oh yeah, it's something I did and it was a couple months project, or worked on it over the course of a year, and there you have it, Big Cypress Bound. Thank you so much for tuning into the album, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Go back and play some of the other songs, and I have some campfires that I play some of the songs from the album, and you might enjoy that too. And so glad to have you by the campfire, and I'm just gonna strum the guitar a little here, and feel free to hang around. All my albums, it's like that crackle of a vinyl record when you put the needle on it. If you really focused in on that needle on the vinyl record, and the whole thing, how many grooves are there in a 33 speed vinyl record? It's one groove. And if you focus in on that, where the needle meets the vinyl, it's like where the tires meet the road, where the needle meets the vinyl. It's like a little campfire in there, that crackle. If you're really focused in with a magnifying glass, or you can't use your readers. If you have like cheap readers, that's not good enough. You need a really big magnifying glass. And you'd see a little campfire in there. And that's what the crackle, that real organic hiss and crackle of the vinyl record comes from. And that's really what I tried to capture with Big Cypress Bound, is the magic of the campfire in the middle of the Big Cypress wilderness. And by wilderness, I mean, in the most general way, that forest of where you go and you're outside of society, and your mind can just wander, and you're just unconfined, and what nature's all about. And Big Cypress Bound. So Big Cypress Bound, it's a return to nature, into the heart of the Big Cypress. Well, I think I've rambled on enough here. Thanks so much for listening to this epilogue to the album, and I look forward to talking to you soon.